get into the SWAC head coaching rankings. And listen, you know, Mr. Carey, Janarius, man, when we talk about these head coaching rankings, what's some of the things for you guys that stand out when you talk about, you know, how you choose to rank these coaches? You know what I'm saying? What are some of the things that you were looking for when you're talking about guys that you say, man, I look at this guy as this is what I need to see if I'm going to look at a guy as a top tier coach, even in this conference.
G Boom said it. I go first.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jess.
Okay, what I see for the most part is mainly if that coach is going to basically be the friend versus being a coach. Like T-Jack will show for what I'm seeing at practice because from time to time I be at the facility and things like that. I see he's not their friend. He's going to be their actual coach versus you having your favorites like that wide receiver one or that starting quarterback. You might treat them like not the faint brain on fantasies in, but if you ever watch All American with Spencer James and Jordan Baker, if you try to use that, bring that into your program, I don't think you're gonna get far. Like that's a show, and they won a championship or whatever. But you know, in the SWAC, this stuff is for real, and that's how I look at it. Like if you're gonna discipline that player, you ain't gonna just give them a slap on the wrist for certain things that you wouldn't give the other person a slap on the wrist for because he's not as happy and he's not as like good as that other person in your eyes, or if you don't like him as much. So I just feel like a coach, my thing is if a coach go off their feelings versus if they're actually good, if you get what I'm saying, as a coach. Because some coaches like to go off their feelings.
I feel like you kind of taking some shots a little bit, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I ain't gonna say much more, but that's what it definitely feel like. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
No, I was just saying because like I know certain coaches, I ain't using my feelings, but I know certain coaches would try to put their feelings in it and try to throw people under the bus. Like not even talking about one specific coach. I'm talking about anybody because to be honest, I've seen this all my life, like favoritism and stuff. I've seen this stuff since I was growing up as a kid. Not even just seeing on no SWAC stuff or just one team. I've seen this my whole life, so that's what I'm saying. I'm going off a coach that's gonna go down and get on your neck, regardless of who you are. He's not scared of you or trying to be your friend or anything.
I feel
that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
that's definitely needed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes it's kind of hard to use that right to judge all across the board, obviously, because you won't necessarily know the personality of all the coaches or necessarily the intricate details of every single program, though. You know what I'm saying? In order to use that as just a broad sweeping thing in my mind, right? You know what I'm saying? So to me, I feel like I would look for something that's a little more across the board and tangible. I mean, Kerry, what's your thoughts, man?
Well, what I look for is that would make me say a coach should be highly ranked. And I haven't had a chance to see it because we have some new faces, but in-game adjustments. That's the thing that I like to see with a coach because they're not always available to do something with one specific player or this guy or that guy, but I know they have to hand off a lot of duties to the assistants, but it's the manager of those assistants, what they do at halftime. I've seen games where you dominated in the first half, and then you come out the second half and they don't let you score a point because they made some adjustments during halftime. Certain players they felt like weren't matching up. You would see a different player there. And those in game, I remember one year, I don't remember that quarterback name, but we called him Short Dog because he was the smallest quarterback that Grambling had. And we were just killing whoever the starting quarterback was. I can't remember who it was, but they put that short quarterback in, and we absolutely could not do anything with them. And so you got to not be afraid to sit your starter down because sometimes the matchup.
I could piggyback off what you were saying.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Go ahead, Damaris.
Okay, so you were saying something about making adjustments and stuff too. That's one thing I also would say. Also, like, is you gonna just give up, pull the plug, and let your team die, or is you gonna, if you see something wrong, you gonna do your best to see like something ain't right. We got to change something up.
Yeah.
Especially like this past weekend, I was at this. I was working at 7-on-7 tournaments and stuff, and I seen the championship game where it's like the team was running the same play the whole game, and like no adjustments was made to stop that. So like that's one thing I'll give you, Kerry. Like you're actually correct about that one.
No, I think that's definitely true. I mean, obviously, in-game adjustments. Having teams prepared, right? Some teams you see them kind of take. You talk about having those big wins, those big victories, right? And then it seems like they slouch out or they pay up or down to a competition, right? Saying you got talking about recruiting, right? Is another big thing, right? When you talk about coaching, especially now, college. This NIL that's going on, right? How can you replenish, the guys you got? How can you keep the guys that you have? And make them feel like this program is something they want to be a part of and something that they can develop in, right? So I think there's a lot of factors definitely to what's going to make a guy kind of high on your list. And listen, I don't want to hear none of that talk. All right, you know what I'm saying? This is the official list. It's the official list.
Here we go.
All right,
here we go. It's trouble. Trouble
the official
coming.
list. If you got a problem, you can just hop on up. I don't hear.
There you go. StreamYard. Don't be scared.
Hop on up yourself. All right. I'm talking straight in the camera. Just hop on up. All right. So listen. First and foremost, starting at number 12. I don't think anybody's gonna disagree with me that Raymond Woody gotta be at the bottom of the list right now, right?
Oh yeah.
See Mr. Campbell.
Listen, 2 seasons at Bethune-Cookman, right? First season 3-8, 2-6 in conference. Last year 2-10, 2-6 in conference. Horrible loss, right, to Clark Atlanta. Finished 5th in the East both times, right? But again, like I always say, Valley gets judged on the curve. That's just the reality of the situation, right? Valley is going to get judged on the curve because of just where they are. I mean, the type of, access they have to resources. And so we talk about Bethune-Cookman that has been in the MEAC, a team that has been caused problems before, right, in the past. So it's not as if Bethune-Cookman has been a program that you can't win at Bethune-Cookman, right? Mm-hmm. So I haven't seen from what we saw in year 1 and year 2, it didn't seem like they was moving on an upward trajectory. It kind of felt like actually this team took a slide and a step back. And obviously we always talk about it, right, from a quarterback position, but it don't even seem like last year they even had any guy who looked as if they had a chance, right, to make some moves. Now, I will say they did sign a quarterback in this recruiting cycle. One guy was a top 100 quarterback transfer, right, that they signed in this spring session. And so I'm interested to see what he's going to be looking like when they get him into fall camp. But right now, man, just overall, Raymond Woody got to be number 12. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it moving. All right, we're just gonna run through all of them, and then I'm gonna get you guys comments after we go through everything. Right?
Okay, gotcha. Oh, whoa! Oh,
number 11. All right, Mickey Joe. Some people might think like this too low. I don't think nobody should really think this too low, because I feel like all the Graham fam also feel like, man, this is not the guy, right? Even looking at him again in this.
Yeah, I agree.
Last year, I think Grambling, in many people's eyes, I feel like people look at Grambling as underachieving.
They did
what they thought that they could be last year, right? And so, I don't think looking at now his off season and looking now at the spring season that there's anything that you look at that will bring that excitement to the Graham's program. Obviously, they was able to pick up T-Set coming over from Southern. Outside of that, man, you don't see a lot of interesting moves that you feel like make this Grambling program tremendously better than what they were last year, right? You know, as far as, you know, any guy,
I even heard from former players,
you know, FCS and FBS, right? And so, you know, you kind of now kind of trying to figure out, man, Mickey Joseph, that was big at LSU back in the day, right? You know what I'm saying, as a recruiter, is this a guy who can recruit this state in this area and bring in those guys that can make this program what many people believe it can be? Now, I know the reality is it's a crumbling dynasty. Listen, I told y'all that already. Okay, so I know ain't really no hope for the program, but there are some people that believe that there's hope for it. Okay, right? And right now he not helping them to see the hope, to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So let's keep it going. Number 10, I got Mr. Terrell Buckley. Now, obviously, you know Mr. Terrell Buckley, right? He's bounced around to a lot of different spots, right? As far as his coaching resume and his coaching acumen, right? And so, you know, this is not a guy who's a stranger to, you know, the coach profession. I think it's going to be really interesting because obviously he's a guy that comes from that deep South Mississippi, right? He understands that area. He's recruited that area for other programs, right, that he's been at. And so I think it's an interesting hire. And one thing that I like was him, you know, him being able even to go out and get a guy on his staff that came from Ferris State, right, to come out to be the OC. And I think reaching outside the box and having those contacts that he's going to have because of kind of the place he's been is going to help him a lot at Valley, and also knowing that land down there. And I would say, listen, he did a great job of recruiting the state of Florida, right?
Ooh, that's big.
Yeah, he did a great job. I mean, he had a couple high school guys from Tallahassee area, right? Even, right? And again, with how things are going to go, when you talk about how the transfer portal is going to work, a lot of these high school guys who really could come in your program and have an impact early on, they're going to get overlooked. And so for him to be able to get guys in this program, and again, the question is, can he make Valley a program where guys say, I'm going to stay 2-3 years at least, right? You know what I'm saying?
That's what I want to see.
Yeah. That's going to be his challenge, right? Because if he can do that, you know, and he can develop, you know, this is a program that maybe, again, not year 1, but maybe year 3, year 4, you can say, man, this program, this guy got a chance to make something work and make something shake down in Mississippi Valley, right? So he's not 10 because, you know, he's necessarily done anything wrong, right? It's just basically the lay of the land, looking at other coaches and where they are. And so he's kind of almost starting off at, you know, even, but that's why I got him in 10th spot, right? Number 9. Listen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that might be.
I agree with those ones for sure.
Now,
I can see that.
Now, Mr. Campbell said he got the link handy. So, you know, that's on him. Now, number 9. James Bullpen Cozy. James Backstop Cozy. James 3 balls, 2 strikes Cozy. Like, listen.
Listen. You talking about backsliding. That's what the program did, was some backsliding. He had way too much talent.
So okay, so that's the point that I want to make, right? I don't think anybody would say FAMU from a talent standpoint regressed that much last year to where you would think that they would have the year that they had, right? You know what I'm saying? So I grade based on curve, right? I don't grade Valley the same I'm gonna grade FAMU. I'm not gonna grade FAMU the same I'm gonna grade UAPB, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to grade based on the program, based on the resources, based on his history, based on what he's done, right? You know, in his time as a head coach. So at the end of the day, with the year we saw with James Cozy, I think we all would say, I don't think anybody would say, even Mr. Campbell, I don't think Mr. Campbell would say that James Cozy didn't underachieve, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't think their underachieving was as huge as what we saw with Mickey, right? But he definitely underachieved, right? You know what I'm saying? And so I can't put him over some other guys who I believe has done a better job with less than what he had, right? Mm-hmm. At FAMU, right? Now, again, he's done a great job of continuing to keep that pipeline going, right? I think FAMU right now has, I checked 13 FBS transfers, right, coming in, right? You know what I'm saying? A multitude also of FCS transfers, right? probably 6, 7 FCS transfers with one. Talk about the CJ Montez a little bit earlier, right? Which I like CJ Montez, what he did 2 years ago at Fordham, right? Season-ending injury last year, though. So, he has the ability, right? He got the potential to have guys in there. The question is not can he get talent. The question is how can he coach up the talent that he has, right, at FAMU, right? You know what I'm saying? And so for right now, I had to bump him down, man. I had to bump him down because of that. So, hey, listen, you gonna wait because it makes sense. You waiting because it makes sense. I understand. Listen, I understand. I know later on you're gonna say, you know what that makes sense.
That's the right move.
Number 8.
Woo.
Number 8.
Too.
Now listen, it's a big slide for this guy, right? This a huge descent. All right. Eddie Robinson Jr. Now, he last year he was really high up on my list because of just what he's been able to do, you know what I'm saying? And building his program. It's like each year, 1 year to year 2, he was taking steps. He was moving the program forward.
So he can't get a curve, Lionel. He can't get a curve. What was he down to, the 6th string quarterback? Didn't he have the offensive tackle playing quarterback or something?
Well, see, this is kind of the thing, right? He down at 6th string quarterback, but I feel like that's his fault. You see what I'm saying?
Coach can't make it.
That's his fault.
I agree with you.
I can't grade him on a curve. I'm not grading him on a curve when that's his fault.
Because Andrew Body,
you the reason you at the 6th string.
He did put all that marble in
there. Everybody in HBCU land already knew what it was. You got your DC there. He's handling business. Your defense on point. All you needed was somebody to spark your offense. And as much as we all talked about,
and it's a better calling because they ran Andrew Body like they thought he was Walter Payton.
But the reality of the situation is like,
yeah, I agree with that.
You got the guy. Why you playing hopscotch? What you hopscotching for? With the guy who, now listen, even in that game against Central, even in that game itself, it's like, all right, if you believe, like, man, if this guy just had that great of a camp, that you feel like, man, I gotta start him. Which, first of all, it's like, but you've seen Andrew too. I'm sure Andrew had to have a good camp too, right? But you've seen Andrew on the field, right? If he had that great of a camp, but look at the game itself. And I think Janarius, earlier you talked about being able to make the hard decision. Or Kerry, it was you talking about pulling that QB and saying, hey man, we just don't throw this guy because he's rolling, right? Andrew was rolling. Even though for some, he was only rolling on the ground because you was only letting him run the ball, basically, right? But that boy's rolling. He's the reason you was in the game.
He's a gamer.
Just don't let him have it, my guy, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say a part of the reason he's a part of his reason. You see what I'm saying?
Who is SWAC?
He's SWAC. He's SWAC definitely. But he's also part of the reason he slid on this list because that's his fault. And he haven't figured it out. Now, not only has he not figured it out, now you lose your DC to UAB. I mean, that's a huge loss, right?
That's a big loss there.
So we're going to learn how much of that defense is leaning on him and how much was it on the DC, right? But again, man, like, I don't know. Again, Alabama State is a program to me that's like their lack of complete success that you feel like this team could have. You kind of got to place it in his hands, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's not that they didn't have the ability to get the job done, but it comes down to, man, again, we're talking about coaching, who can get you over the hump, right? You know, making the right calls at the right time, right? You know what I'm saying? Pushing the right button at the right time. We talked about it with Willie a few years ago, right, with FAMU. And Eddie Robinson just hasn't shown that he has that ability yet. So anyway, I dropped him to number 8. Number 7. All right, listen to me. Listen. Because
I'm waiting. Eddie Robinson behind him.
You shot me this one.
Oh, listen, come on.
Now I ain't have him as high up as I've heard some others did, but listen, you got to give Alonzo Hampton a little bit of credit for how that team played last year. Now, they were extremely up and down, right? You know what I'm saying? But coming from where UAPB had come from, and this is kind of like the same thing with Terrell Buckley of being able to keep people in your program, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's his biggest challenge, right? Is can you keep people in your program? Because guess what? If Alonzo Hampton could just keep the main pieces he had last year, you're looking at UAPB a lot differently starting this year off, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're looking at UAPB a lot differently starting this year off. And so like now again, that plays a part in it, right? Being able to acquire guys, being able to maintain guys is just how we live.
So that's not his fault, like Coach Robinson. You can't switch him.
Nah, I'm not switching Coach Hampton because this is the thing, right? The reason I put Coach Hampton ahead of him was because I was thinking if Coach Hampton had what Coach Robinson had, right? How is that going? I don't think it plays out the same because Coach Robinson has shown now multiple years that he's had an issue when it comes to offensive side of the ball, right? You know what I'm saying? And making decisions and knowing kind of who to roll with, choosing the right person to roll with. This has not been, going back to D. Davis, right? And then we saw Miles Crowley who moved over to Grambling, right? So that's kind of the determining factor for me of why when I say, okay, I'm looking at what Coach Hampton had and what he's working with, right? He's trying to build something from the ground up that just wasn't right. Without the resources that Alabama State obviously has, without the AD, right? The work that the AD of Alabama State over there is doing, right? So, he's working with a little, I'm grading him on a curve, like I say, right? But, and again, acquiring people and maintaining people is a part of just this coaching thing right now, right? So, he does get knocked for that, but again, it's gonna be hard to keep a lot of that people in UAPB. You got to think. I forgot the other quarterback name that left out the year before and went to Northern Illinois. You know what I'm saying? Like they done found two guys right in this program. And I believe he was there before Hampton got there, right? But he's showing at least that I can go find guys, right? You know what I'm saying? So the question is now, can he find them? Find enough guys, right, to make that team something to where it elevates out of that kind of bottom tier of the SWAC, and then also can he maintain them for 2, 3, 4 years so that he can fully build out this program? And is he gonna have enough time to do it? That's the next real question, right? So, all right, number 6. Let's keep it going. Sam Shade. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and he said, and if people didn't steal our film, listen.
Yeah, cold-blooded.
That's another thing. Hey, listen, Coach Hampton got to know how to use passwords. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly,
he hired me. I work in cybersecurity. I get him. I get him right, Coach Hampton.
I slide it down that too. Nah, you know what I'm saying? But I got Coach Hampton. So, Sam Shea. Now, he was also in this kind of carousel. Now, of course, we talk about Terrell Buckley, talk about Sam Shea, talk about Tremaine Jackson. These guys haven't been and haven't coached in the SWAC, right? So now I'm kind of looking at previous history, obviously, right? You know what I'm saying? Looking at what you have done, right? And what you have the ability to do. And I think Sam Shade was just like the Chennis Berry to South Carolina State connection. When Alabama A&M was coming open, I'm like, man, this is like he's literally driving down the street to change offices, right? Same recruiting area, right? You know what I'm saying? Same high school coaches he connecting with, right? So, like, he in the same address, you feel me? So it was a perfect marriage for Sam Shade to step on over and go to Alabama A&M. And so I really think he's going to be successful. Like, I don't think it's a question of if he's going to be successful. I just think it's a question of time, in my personal opinion, right? And so I got Sam Shade, obviously number 6 again, looking at what he did.
One more fun fact.
That program up, you know what I'm saying? So again, Sam Shade, I got him at number 5. Number 6.
There you
number 5. Cedric Thomas, all right? Cedric Thomas, obviously, I wouldn't say that he had a great year, right? You know what I'm saying? At Alcorn, right? But I think it was a solid year, right? You know what I mean? I think it was a solid year that he had at Alcorn. and it was something that I feel like he can build on. And again, what we've seen with him is you're seeing him being able. We talk about maintaining the program. You've seen that Coach said is able to maintain guys, right? Like you don't see Alcorn losing a lot of guys to the portal. You know what I'm saying? You see them being able to get people in that program and people saying, man, I like it here, right? I love it here. I can develop here. I want to stay and build for the long haul. And you're talking about building a championship team. You really need that, right, in order to stack that 1, that 2, that 3 year together in order to get to that point. And so Coach said I got him at 5. Coach 4, listen, he was all the way down on my list last year, but Chris Dishman was super solid, right? Which is also why I'm really high on Texas Southern. I ain't gonna lie. I'm really high on Third Ward Community College this year. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Because Coach Dishman, man, he's a solid coach. All right. It looks like he knows exactly what he's looking for and what someone to do. Now, of course, his big thing, I feel like also same thing that Eddie Robinson is dealing with is like really figuring out the offensive side of the ball, right? But I feel like he looks like he kind of knows what he wants to do. The question is really just finding a quarterback like every SWAC program, obviously, right? Is trying to deal with. But man, Chris Dishman, I just feel like came in and just changed the culture over at Texas Southern, make them a very disciplined team, right? Don't make a huge amount of mistakes. And so that helps them to not beat themselves. But again, they're definitely going to have to figure out the offensive side of the ball. But it looks like he's trying to build traditionally, right? Saying, hey, I'm going to focus a lot on the high school ranks and develop. And again, if he can get people in and keep people in this program, I think he can be successful. Now they did lose a couple big starters on defense, right? You know, this spring I saw that recently jumped in the portal. So it's going to be interesting to see how can he plug those holes, right? But his big linebackers are coming back, right? So, you know, he was able to maintain still a lot of that kind of core. So it's going to be interesting to see Texas Southern this year and where they go. Number 3, Terrence Graves. Hey, listen. Yeah, only reason I ain't put Terrence Graves at number 2 is because I just feel like a couple of these games, Southern just like people just gave Southern game. I can't lie. You know what I'm saying? So I just can't put him in there. You know what I'm saying? But listen, he was solid. He was solid, man. I think he was able to, put a good he's able to put a good array of coaches around him, right? You know what I'm saying? To help build together. And so I feel like Coach Graves knows put trust in those people. Obviously, getting Fred McNair over there is huge, who's now the quarterback coach, right? You know what I'm saying? So you lose Willie Totten, but then you got Fred McNair you just slide over, right? You know what I'm saying? So good, amount of coaches around you is a good thing right now. He did lose a couple, especially running backs in the portal, and Southern is a team that wants to run the ball, right? You know what I'm saying? So they're right now they're young at running back. Obviously, they're going to be looking to bring some people in from the portal. They have a little age on the right. So it's going to be interesting to see where they are, right? But right now, I got Terrence Gray 3rd as far as this list. Number 2, listen. What? Some stuff just don't need to be said. It is what it is, right? You know what I'm saying? AFCA Coach of the Year, all right, at the D2 level. You know what I'm saying? Killing it at Colorado Mesa, killing it at Valdosta State. Already in the first 3-4 months, killing it at Prairie View. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about a coach to come in, you talking about changing culture, right? You talking about saying, hey, I want to be a 21 and up club and delivering on that. You know what I'm saying right now? Now, obviously, at the end of the day, just like any other school, just like Jackson or FAM or whoever else that's a lot of transfers, can you make it mesh together is the question, right? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, yeah, you can bring in a lot of guys, but can these guys mesh together and can they work together? The one thing I will say, and we're going to talk about it on the album review tomorrow, is a lot of guys coming in who have snaps, right, at the levels that they're coming from, right? Whether that's FCS guys, whether they're FBS guys, they're not bringing in a boatload of guys who are just at places who actually wasn't on the field. And I think that's really huge, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you talking about, you know what I'm saying, having guys come in who knows what college speed looks like from actually playing game day, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's super huge, man. So obviously Coach Jackson, number 2. And listen, for all the Jackson people, Coach TC Taylor. I mean, listen, how could it not be TC Taylor, right? You know what I'm saying? You saw him
how could it not?
Year 1, the year 2, right? You know what I'm saying? The SWAC championship, win the Celebration Bowl. At the end of the day, he got to be number 1, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's really nothing to be said, right? You know what I'm saying? The question is who 2 through 12, right? That's really the question. You know what I'm saying? Well, really, it's like who 2 to 11, because you know who number 12 is and you know who number 1 is, right? Now, all in between, we probably can discuss. But yeah, it had to be none of the TC Taylor, man. Did a great job, right? Got that offense rolling, right? Even in that ULM game, there was people had questions. But hey, listen, you saw him continue to make moves, right? You know what I'm saying? He's not only are they able to get people in the program, they're able to maintain people in the program. And of course, everybody has a little attrition here and there, but we're talking about the bulk of your roster, right? And the guys who actually have put in work from the previous year has done a great job of maintaining the majority of those guys, right? You know what I'm saying? And so I think just all around the board, who could say that number 1 wouldn't be TC Taylor right now as far as in the SWAC head coaches ranks, right? You know what I'm saying? Said the only thing right about this list is 1 in 12.
Oh man. Listen,
I would give you T-Jack on resume, but the rest of this list is downright disrespectful. I don't know about. Come on, man.
I don't know. Based off resources,
I agree. TC at the top is only fair. Of course, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
No, TC has to be at the top.
Every coach has something to prove. That's facts, right? Everybody else
that's true too.
Has something to prove. You know what I'm saying? Said better not be no coach in the top 5 having coached in the car. Listen, I only can base it off of what they've done before. I can't do nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Can't do nothing else. So listen, now, guys, go ahead and help them to understand why this is a perfect list. You know what I'm saying? Help them understand why this list is perfect.
And I'm still
y'all know something on this?
What?
I'd move Eddie on.
You moving Eddie down?
Yeah.
You moving Eddie up?
I moved up. I ain't gonna lie to you, fam.
Yeah.
I
mean, I know he could have handled the quarterback thing because TC dealt with some quarterback attrition due to injuries, and he made it happen.
Listen. Hey,
yeah.
D-Lob agrees with me. All right, listen. I mean, why wouldn't you put him number 2? Based on what? You feel me? Like, based on what? Why wouldn't he be 2? It makes sense.
Oh, 2 is good.
First of all, where y'all moving Eddie? I don't understand. Where y'all moving Eddie to? Who's Eddie jumping over?
Not Sam, I ain't gonna lie. Not Sam.
I would trade him with Sam, only for the unknown.
I wouldn't trade him with Sam. Sam's actually a good coach.
Don't trade him with Sam. Well, he got to at least trade with Hampton.
Yeah,
why should Eddie Robinson be ahead of Alonzo Hampton? Based on what?
They haven't won the East yet.
Eddie Robinson hasn't won. Of course, he hasn't won the East, but he was projected to win the East last year.
Yeah, he had all the pieces.
Shout out Prospect Sports.
You said Elvin said he would switch Thomas and Robinson. So you putting Eddie Robinson ahead of Cedric Thomas. I don't know about that. And then Cozy with Shade. I mean, Shade hasn't coached. I understand people say Shade hasn't coached in the conference. Maine hasn't coached in the conference. Buckley hasn't coached in the conference. I get that, right? So I only can judge these guys, based on their resume, right? You know what I'm saying? That's all I can do. He said they can't even come in second in the East. Mr. Cameron, you finally said something this evening that makes sense. Come on. I'm just saying. Well, technically, let's actually correct this. 2 years ago, they did finish second, actually. 2 years ago, they did finish second. But, other than that. All right, D-Law said TC, T-Jack, Cozy number 3?
Cozy number 3? No, resources he had. Didn't he lose to? He lost the Valley. Didn't he lose the Valley?
He did. How you tossing up Alonzo Hampton with Raymond Woody though? I don't get that. Yeah, I don't agree with that one. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Wouldn't do that.
Now at the beginning, you was making a lot of sense, but you kind of ended it off bad. Cozy should be no lower than 5. Based on what, Mr. Campbell?
They underachieve.
So hold on. So you said no lower than 5. So are you putting Cozy above Eddie Robinson
and Sam Shade?
I mean, I can understand if you put him above Sam Shade if you say, well, Shade hasn't coached in the thing, but to me, I don't look at somebody's resume from before and discount that, right, because they haven't coached in the SWAC, right? But they've been a head coach before, right? So I'm judging them based on what they have shown us, what they have laid out on their resume. You know what I'm saying? And Sam Shade's resume is an impressive resume. It's more impressive than James Cozy, in my opinion, right? I get that, but see, I'm also, my thing is this, right? Again, I keep saying I'm grading on curves, right? FAMU not gonna get judged on the same curve as Mississippi Valley. Kendrick Wade curve is gonna be totally different from James Cozy's curve because they're in two different situations. The talent that FAMU had means that FAMU had an opportunity to win the SWAC last year, right? And they significantly underachieved from that. So that's what I'm basing it on. Same thing with Eddie Robinson Jr. Eddie Robinson Jr. had a team where he had the opportunity, right, and ability to get over the hump last year, right? He underachieved. So that's what I'm looking. You know what I'm saying? And he falls short every year, and that's my thing, right? You know what I'm saying? So last one before we get to these other rankings: TC, Graves, T-Jack, Dishman, Robinson, Cozy, Shade, Thomas, Mickey, Hampton, Buckley, and Woody. All right. Okay.
Interesting.
No, sir. All right. So with that said, man, now y'all know it's next, man. We got to get into these rankings.
We